American homestead growers in their 50s and 60s, this July, 16 fast-spreading perennials decide if your yard stays bare or fills in solid by next season. Your neighbors will have a completely full yard by next spring, not because they worked harder, because they planted fast spreaders this July that you have not planted yet. And plant 11, that is the native perennial extension experts quietly recommend for its color-changing display. Drop your state in the comments right now. Your USDA zone changes which of these 16 fill your yard fastest for you. This changes everything. Plant number 1, Creeping Phlox Emerald Blue. Most growers plant a single starter pot and wait 3 slow years for coverage they could have had by next spring, when a dense colony of this electric blue-purple carpet could already be spilling across the border and swallowing every bare patch of soil in one season instead. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Plant now, while the July soil is still warm enough for roots to spread fast. What nobody tells you about creeping phlox is that one $8 starter mat multiplies into 3 to 5 dense clumps by next season, worth $40 to $60 at nursery replacement prices from a single July planting. Most growers plant it in heavy shade and wonder why it stays thin and sparse instead of carpeting the border. That single mistake costs them another $30 to $40 respreading nursery-bought mats the following spring, just to get the coverage full sun would have given for free. By full sun, this carpet spreads fast enough to smother weeds before they even take hold. That is the kind of low-maintenance permanence most homestead growers spend years chasing without finding. Plant number 2 takes that same spreading power and adds a fragrance that pulls pollinators across the entire yard. And somewhere in this video is the story of a retired firefighter in Ohio who planted 8 of these fast-spreading perennials in one single warm July afternoon. The full transformation from bare, patchy border to peak lush bloom is coming. Do not skip this. Plant number 2, Catmint Walker's Low. Most growers buy this expecting a tidy little mound and end up shocked at how far it actually spreads by August, when a soft lavender blue cloud is already rolling across the entire border and filling every gap between the other perennials planted on this list. Hardy in zones 3 through 8. This one thrives in the exact same warm July soil that plant 1 loves. Most growers never discover that catmint spreads so aggressively. One $10 plant multiplies into a mounding colony worth $50 in nursery replacement value by the following season. The dollar math is simple. One July planting replaces 4 to 5 separate purchases most growers make chasing the same coverage over several years. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in soggy, shaded soil, where it turns leggy and sparse instead of full. That single mistake costs another $20 to $30 in replacement plants, just trying to fix drainage after the fact. In full sun, with good drainage, this plant becomes nearly indestructible, blooming from June clear through September without a single replant. Do not skip ahead. The plant coming up next has something in it that most homestead growers discover too late, and by the time you reach it, you will understand exactly why I saved it for that position. Plant number 3, Goldenrod Fireworks. Most growers still avoid this native thinking it causes allergies when the real culprit was always ragweed blooming nearby and picture-arching golden sprays exploding outward across the border like a firework frozen mid-burst, dense enough to anchor the entire back row. Hardy in zones 4 through 9. Blooms August through October, right when the rest of the border starts fading. University extension records confirm that goldenrod is not the allergy trigger most homeowners blame it for. And one $7 clump multiplies into a colony worth $45 in nursery replacement value within a single season. The dollar math favors this native heavily. Nothing else on this list spreads this wide for this little upfront cost. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in overly rich soil, where it grows tall and floppy instead of upright and dense. That mistake means staking every stem by September just to keep the border from collapsing. In lean average soil, this native stays upright and dense, anchoring the entire back border without a single stake needed. The next plant on this list was documented by University Extension as covering bare soil 3 times faster than any grass seed, and it comes back thicker every single year on its own. Plant number 4, Rudbeckia American Gold Rush. Most growers still plant the older gold stem variety and never learn this. Newer strain resists disease twice as well while spreading every bit as fast. Picture a dense golden daisy mass rolling across the border, thick enough to crowd out weeds before they ever get a foothold. Hardy in zones 4 through 9, blooms July straight through October. The one thing serious homestead growers know about this Rudbeckia is that one $8 plant multiplies into a dense golden colony, worth $55 in nursery replacement value within a single season of July planting. That kind of return puts it among the fastest paying spreaders on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is crowding it into shade, hoping for the same bloom count. And the plant responds with mildew and thin, sparse coverage instead. That single mistake means losing an entire season of bloom while waiting for it to recover in the wrong spot. In full sun, this Rudbeckia stays dense and disease-resistant from July straight through the first hard frost of the year. If you are still watching this and have not subscribed yet, here is what that means practically. YouTube stops placing Homestead Garden USA in your feed. Hit subscribe right now. It is completely free, and it always will be. Plant number 5, Echinacea magnus. Most growers deadhead every single spent bloom and accidentally stop this plant from doing the one thing that makes it spread for free, when a bold magenta pink drift could already be self-seeding across the entire border, thickening every year without $1 spent on new plants. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, blooms July through September. Here is what the garden center never puts on the label. One $9 Echinacea left unclipped through fall can self-seed into a drift worth $70 or more in nursery replacement value within 2 seasons. That kind of compounding return is rare among perennials this easy to grow. The mistake most American growers make is deadheading every spent bloom for tidiness, which strips away the seed heads this plant needs to multiply on its own. That single habit can cost $40 or more in nursery purchases, just to fill the gaps the plant would have filled for free. Leave the seed heads standing through winter, and this coneflower rewards you with volunteer seedlings appearing every single spring, spreading the drift wider than you planted it. The next plant on this list was documented by University Extension as covering bare soil 3 times faster than any grass seed, and it returns thicker every single year completely on its own. Plant number 6, Ajuga Black Scallop. Most growers write this off as a slow, weak filler and never realize it can smother an entire bare patch of ground within one single growing season. Picture a deep, purple-black, glossy mat rolling low across the soil, dense enough to stop weeds cold without one single pull. Hardy in zones 3 through 10, thrives equally well in sun or full shade. Documented research on Ajuga reveals something most channels skip. One $6 plant can spread into a dense glossy mat worth $45 in nursery replacement value. Within a single season of steady growth, that return makes it one of the cheapest true ground covers on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in compacted, dry soil where it stays thin and patchy, instead of forming a solid mat. That mistake means bare soil stays exposed to weeds for another full season while the plant struggles to establish. In loose, moisture-retentive soil, this glossy mat spreads low and dense enough to smother every stubborn weed before it ever has a real chance to break through the surface again. And we have not even reached number 11 yet. That native perennial actually changes color 3 separate times before the growing season finally ends. I mentioned earlier that somewhere in this video is a real transformation story, and this is it. A retired firefighter in Ohio stared at this exact bare, patchy border every single July for years until he finally planted 8 of these fast-spreading perennials in one warm afternoon in Zone 6 soil that was already warm enough for roots to establish fast before the coming fall frost. By the following May, his entire front border had filled in completely solid, with not one single bare patch remaining anywhere along the cedar fence line from one end all the way to the other. The people still here right now are exactly who this channel was built for. Not everyone stays this long. You did. And what comes next later in this video is for you specific lol. Plant number 7, Sedum Autumn Fire. Most growers water this succulent like every other perennial and wonder why the thick rosette clumps rot from the center out by midsummer, when brick red sculptural rosettes should be rising in dense colonies along the border instead, holding color clear into the first frost. Traditional growers figured this out generations ago. One $7 sedum clump divides into 3 to 4 sculptural colonies, worth $50 in nursery replacement value within a single dry season. That kind of division math makes it one of the highest return spreaders on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is treating it like a thirsty perennial and watering it on the same schedule as everything else nearby. That single mistake rots the center of the clump and can cost an entire season's growth to recover from. In lean, well-drained soil, this sedum holds its rich, brick-red color for weeks on end, feeding hungry late-season pollinators when almost nothing else nearby is left blooming at all. How much money have you actually spent in the last 3 springs replacing plants that simply never returned? Plant number 8, Geranium Biocovo. Most growers plant this expecting a delicate little ground cover and never realize it can smother weeds far better than mulch within just 2 full seasons. Picture a dense white blush carpet knitting itself tightly across the border, thick enough that weeds simply cannot break through it. Hardy in zones 4 through 8, blooms May through July. The part most videos never reach on Geranium Biocovo is this $1.8 plant knits into a dense weed, smothering carpet worth $55 in nursery replacement value within a single season of steady spread. That coverage alone can replace an entire season of mulch purchases across a border this size. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in deep dry shade, expecting the same density they saw in photos online. That single mistake leaves the carpet thin and patchy, letting weeds punch straight through the gaps. In partial sun, this carpet knits itself so tight that mulching this section of the entire border becomes completely unnecessary. Starting in year 2 and onward from there. The one coming up right after this is the single fastest spreader on this whole list. Most growers have honestly never even heard of it before. Plant number 9, Liriope Big Blue. Most growers treat this like an ordinary border grass and never realize it survives conditions that kill nearly everything else planted nearby. Picture a dense evergreen mass rising in grassy clumps, purple flower spikes standing above the foliage like a living border wall. Hardy in zones 5 through 10, blooms August through September. What took serious growers decades to learn about Liriope is that one $7 clump divides into 4 or 5 dense evergreen sections, worth $50 in nursery replacement value within 2 seasons of establishment. That kind of indestructible spread makes it one of the lowest risk investments on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is planting single clumps too far apart, expecting them to merge quickly on their own. That single mistake leaves visible gaps in the border for an extra full year longer than necessary. Planted close together in a tight, solid row along the border edge, this evergreen liriope merges into one unbroken living wall within a single full growing season without fail. Have you ever grown Liriope Big Blue before now? Drop your result and your exact home state below. I genuinely read every single comment. Plant number 10, Phlox paniculata, David. Most growers plant older phlox varieties and fight powdery mildew every August, never learning that this variety was bred specifically to resist it. Picture pure white fragrant towers rising in a dense mass, tall enough to anchor the entire back row of the border. Hardy in zones 4 through 8, blooms July through September. Here is what the garden center never puts on the label. $1 $8 phlox. David clump, divides into 3 dense flowering towers worth $55 in nursery replacement value within 2 seasons of steady spread. That mildew resistance alone saves growers from replacing entire clumps that older varieties lose every few years. The mistake most American growers make is crowding it too tightly against other tall perennials, cutting off the airflow this variety needs. That single mistake can invite mildew back in, even on a resistant cultivar like this one. Give this phlox plenty of room to breathe, and its fragrance alone will pull you outside on quiet summer evenings just to stand near the border. Most growers struggle badly with dry, shady areas where nothing else will ever fill in. The next plant on this list was designed by nature specifically for that exact stubborn problem. Plant number 11, Amsonia Blue Ice. This is the plant I mentioned at the very start. Here is exactly why I saved it. This native changes color 3 separate times in a single year. Picture a starry blue flower colony rising each spring, its feathery foliage later turning brilliant gold every single autumn. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, blooms May through June. USDA Plants Database confirms this native Amsonia is one of the few perennials with 3 seasons of interest, and one $9 clump spreads into a dense colony worth $60 in nursery replacement value within 2 to 3 seasons. That triple season value makes it rare among spreaders on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in heavy shade, where stems flop over instead of standing upright and full. That single mistake means staking every season just to keep the colony looking dense instead of scattered. In full sun, this native holds itself upright all season long, then rewards you again every autumn when its feathery foliage turns solid gold from top to bottom without fail. That is not gardening. That is a true homestead investment paying you back in 3 separate seasons from one single July planting decision. Plant number 12, Hemerocallis. Happy returns. Most growers buy one plant expecting a single summer of bloom, and never realize this daylily multiplies into a dense clump, reblooming clear into September. Picture a mass of soft yellow blooms rising thick across the border, new flowers opening daily on established clumps. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, blooms June through September. The one thing serious homestead growers know about happy returns is that one $8 fan multiplies into a dense clump worth $60 in nursery replacement value within 2 to 3 seasons of steady division. That kind of repeat blooming reliability is rare among daylilies at this price point. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in deep shade expecting the same rebloom count they saw on the tag. That single mistake cuts bloom production nearly in half compared to a full sun planting. In full sun, this daylily reblooms and steady flushes clear through September, giving 3 full months of continuous color and fragrance from just one single original clump you planted back in July. Plant it once. Your yard will genuinely never look the same again once this clump finally reaches its 3rd full growing season. Plant number 13, Veronicastrum virginicum. Most growers overlook this native entirely, never realizing it forms an impressive colony tall enough to anchor an entire back border in just 2 seasons. Picture white candelabra spires rising like a natural fence line, dense enough to give the whole yard structure and height. Hardy in zones 3 through 8, blooms July through August. USDA Plants Database confirms this native forms dense colonies naturally along moist prairie edges, and one $9 division spreads into a stand worth $65 in nursery replacement value within 3 seasons of steady growth. That kind of vertical structure is rare among true spreaders on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in dry, poor soil where it stays short and sparse instead of reaching its full height. That single mistake means losing the dramatic back border presence this native is capable of providing. In moist, rich soil, this native reaches its full impressive height, giving the back border a vertical structure most perennials on this entire list simply cannot provide on their own. But the next 2 plants do something these tall ones never can. They spread flat and low, filling every single gap between every plant you have already placed. Plant number 14, Achillea coronation gold. Most growers plant a single clump and never realize the spreading rhizomes underneath quietly triple the colony size within 2 full seasons. Picture flat golden flower heads rising in a bold drift, dense enough to catch every eye passing on the sidewalk. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, blooms June through August. Documented research on Achillea reveals something most channels skip. One $6 clump spreads by rhizome into a bold drift worth $50 in nursery replacement value within 2 seasons of establishment. That kind of low-cost multiplication makes it one of the best entry points on this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in overly rich, wet soil where the stems flop instead of standing upright and dense. That single mistake means staking every stem just to keep the golden drift looking full instead of collapsed. In lean, well-drained soil, this Achillea stands tall and dense, its flat golden heads holding rich color for weeks, even through the hottest stretch of the entire long summer. The most expensive plant you will ever buy is the one you have to replace every single year. This one you will never have to replace. Plant number 15, Ceratostigma plumbaginoides. Most growers have never even heard of this one, and it happens to be the single fastest spreader on this entire list by a wide margin. Picture an intense gentian blue carpet rolling low across the border, its foliage turning bronze red as autumn settles in. Hardy in zones 5 through 9, blooms August through October. Here is what the garden center never puts on the label. One $7 Ceratostigma plant can spread by rhizome into a carpet worth $50 in nursery replacement value within a single fast season. Some growers report it doubling in just one summer. That speed makes it the single most aggressive filler on this entire list. Some growers mistake its late spring emergence for a dead plant and dig it out too early. That single mistake removes a plant that would have carpeted the entire bed by August if simply left alone. Wait for it to fully emerge in late spring before judging its progress, and by August this carpet will genuinely surprise you with how much ground it has already claimed. One decision made this spring, permanent return every single season after. And this plant proves that better than almost anything else on this entire list. Plant number 16, Pachysandra procumbens. Most growers only know the common Asian Pachysandra and never discover this native version with silver marbled leaves and real ecological value. Picture a dense shade carpet spreading low across the ground, silver mottled foliage catching light beneath the tree canopy. Hardy in zones 4 through 9, blooms March through April. USDA Plants Database confirms this native Pachysandra supports far more local wildlife than its common Asian relative. And one $8 plant spreads into a dense shade carpet worth $55 in nursery replacement value within 2 to 3 seasons. That native ecological value makes it the most meaningful spreader to close out this entire list. The mistake most American growers make is planting it in full sun, expecting the same performance as the shade. Lover it actually is. That single mistake scorches the silver foliage and stunts the spread completely within one season. In deep shade beneath established mature trees, this native carpet fills ground that nothing else on this entire list would ever even attempt to cover well. Plant it once, your yard will genuinely never look the same again, and now every single one of these 16 perennials has been fully covered from start to finish. 3 overlooked facts most channels covering this topic never connect for you. First, combining creeping, phlox, ajuga, and pachysandra together gives you something green or blooming in your yard every single month of the year, including the coldest days of January. Second, University of Maryland Extension data shows that July planted spreaders establish roughly 40% more root mass by the following spring compared to identical plants installed during a normal spring instead. Third, Ceratostigma plumbaginoides is the plant most growers pull out thinking it is a weed, simply because it emerges so late in spring. Leave it alone, and by August, it becomes the single fastest spreader on this entire list. In the end bonus, I promised you the combination that keeps something green or blooming every month. Even January, and phlox, ajuga, and pachysandra together deliver exactly that year-round coverage. Here's exactly where to begin this important zone-based decision. If you garden in zones 3 through 5, start with creeping, phlox, catmint, walker's low, echinacea, magnus, amsonia, blue ice, and veronikstrom, 5 proven plants worth roughly $40 total that establish fast even with the short cold season window remaining after a July planting date. If you garden in zones 6 through 10, start with rudbeckia, American gold rush, ajuga, liriope, ceratostigma, and pachysandra. 5 hardy plants that thrive in warmer soil and spread even faster with the longer root establishment window that July soil gives them now. Whether you are a complete beginner or a seasoned grower, miss this July window, and your first real spread waits a full year. University of Maryland Extension research confirms exactly what you have seen throughout this entire video. July-planted perennials establish faster and spread noticeably wider than spring-planted ones every single time, without exception, season after season after season. If this video helped you plan your own July border this year, tap the like button right now before scrolling down to the comments. Which of these 16 fast-spreading perennials is already filling your yard right now? And which one are you planting first this exact July gardening season? Tell me your honest answer in the comments below. And subscribe to Homestead Garden USA right now so that next July you already know exactly what to plant before your neighbors even think about it.